And join us today. Good morning. Good morning. This is Thursday, May the 9th, 2024. It is Public Policy Talks now. It's underway almost. Thank y'all for coming in. Gonna have a good conversation this morning, y'all. Got a special guest in the house. All right. All right, the time is 8:31. Get started in approximately 1 minute. 1 minute. All right. Let me get my chat. Everybody get your chats ready. All right, we got some good mornings in the chat. All right, good morning, Melba. Good morning, Deborah. See some of the board members in the room. Sylvester Ford, I see you. See all of the chamber members. See Stacy Porter out there. What's going on, Stacy? Calvin Maddox, board member of ABB. All right, Stacy. All right. Just looking around, scanning the room. Kasia, I see you out there. Thanks for joining. Dr. Jackie. All right, y'all. It is 8:32. Welcome to Thursday's Public Policy Talks brought to you by Advancing Black Businesses, your 501c4. 501c4s are similar to PACs. We are situated in the public policy arena. This is a big year for public policy because this is an election year. Early voting is going on right now. The election, the primary, I call it election, or everybody calls it, is May the 21st. That is election day here in the state of Georgia. We have the local elections going on in the city, the county. State reps are running, U.S. congresspersons, and we are ramping up for November the 5th. November the 5th is the presidential election, the general election for the year. So comes around every 4 years. And I am a believer that we need, as a Black community, to renegotiate our relationship with any party or any politician, any elected officials every 2 to 4 years. This is one of those 4 years that we have to renegotiate our relationship. We talk about data here at Public Policy Talks. So we're going to get in with a special guest today. We have a special guest today, about to get into that. But before we get there, we have June 3rd. Mark your date, save the date. You'll be getting that link sometime soon. Golf tournament at Top Golf, our annual fundraiser for Advancing Black Businesses on June the 3rd. I did say Top Golf, whereas a different type tournament. It's going to be centered around an event. You're going to be able to network with everybody there while you're playing golf. We're going to have a great time there. Also, we have going in the chat also, that is September the 12th through the 15th. September the 12th through the 15th. That is the DC Fly-In. DC Fly-In, as Advancing Black Businesses and Atlanta Black Chambers. DC Fly-In. May get a chance to talk about that some today, depending on time, but definitely we'll be talking more about that next week. But the DC Fly-In. Also, I'll be in DC next week, the 13th through the 15th, with the Southern Regional Economic Roundtable. We have our annual fly-in with the Georgia Coalition of Black Chamber Presidents. Other Black Chamber Presidents around the South will be with us, along with other organizational leaders. We'll be convening in DC to actually talk with our Congress, our Georgia delegation, and even the Southern delegation in Congress, meeting with our U.S. senators also. So we're going to have a great time. We're going to be meeting with departments such as Department of Education, USDA, and Department of Commerce, and many other departments, talking about contracting, talking about organizational funding, talking about the funding that's coming down from the ARPA, the American Rescue Plan. So thank you for joining us today. We have a special guest on. This is a person that I have talked about on the call, that you've heard me talk about, Mayor Willie Burns. I call him Mayor Willie Burns. He is the executive director of the Georgia Conference of Black Mayors. We have more mayors, if I'm right about this, than any more Black mayors in the state of Georgia than any other state. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor Burns. We're about to bring you on. But Mayor Burns, just to tell you a little bit about Mayor Burns, he was the mayor. Actually, before he was mayor, he was a state trooper, retired state trooper. He was on the governor's staff, security detail, was very close to two governors. Let's see, those governors were Zell Miller and let's see, Governor Harris, if I'm right about that. Mayor Burns was on their security details. So he was in those rooms, y'all, with the governors as they were making those important decisions in and around public policy during those gubernatorial terms. He was there as mayor from 2004 to 2011, mayor of Washington, Georgia. Right after that, he took over the helm of the Georgia Conference of Black Mayors. The Georgia Conference of Black Mayors. We're looking as a group advancing Black business, Atlanta Black Chambers and other Black chambers to support this organization because we want to work closely with those Black mayors around the state. We want to talk about contracting opportunities. We want to talk about truly starting that process of building those relationships with those Black mayors. Mayor Burns, come on and tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Georgia Conference of Black Mayors to the audience today. What's going on?
Oh, good morning, Markee. And thanks for having me. And good morning to the Atlanta Black Chamber and the people that's on the call this morning. I want to say, first of all, and I need to correct, something. Mississippi or Louisiana, one of those states have more Black mayors than anybody.
I knew that was coming around the corner.
Georgia,
right?
Georgia's probably like number 3.
Okay, all right.
When I was the president of the organization, we had 42. Presently, it's probably about 80, and it's majority of the time. I'm gonna go right to what y'all need to hear. Majority of the time, that what happens is that when it's not like everybody look at Atlanta. The Atlanta mayor wields a lot of power, and you got a better understanding. But once you get beyond 285 and you start going to cities like Albany, Augusta, it's in these Statesboro. I'm just naming cities now that presently either had a Black mayor. Like in Albany, you ought to have a Black mayor, but they don't have one. They've had one before. It's getting Black businesses, majority of the time, Augusta has a new mayor who's a progressive type young man who's believing those kind of relationships, who's trying to make a difference. But it's how do you do business with Black businesses, and the numbers are there when you start looking like Washington, Georgia, for instance. The only opportunity that a Black business had the opportunity to do business with us is we're doing construction or something like that. But it's like when I was in office, my budget was 17-20 million. The city of Washington budget now is, y'all ready for this? It's about 60 million.
Wow.
They got a Bitcoin industry here in Washington that generates that use enough energy for 6 Walmarts, large Walmarts. And it's all about trying to build those relationships in these small rural areas. When you start adding up these budgets, especially if you're a small business person, there's opportunity there to do businesses in these rural areas. Like I really believe that uh, uh, during the Recovery Act, uh, that small businesses, especially African American business, didn't benefit like they should have from those funds that were being allocated. There's still money that still had not even been spent. And then what's interesting is, especially when you get out in these rural areas,
Mhm.
you don't even know what they spent the money on. And the majority of the money they spent it with someone, it was about is all due to relationships. Like you probably could have had if any of you all probably do engineering or architectural, anything dealing with construction, you all should have benefited from those funds that were being allocated out there. But the relationships are not there. Even you can go to an area where the mayor is black and all the city council members are black, but they're not going to do business with you. I don't get it. I used to be so frustrated when I was when doing we got affected by COVID, but before COVID, Markee will tell you, I would have 35 to 40 mayors at a conference.
Mhm.
And I had one black vendor who has her own general liability insurance company. In other words, she could sell them, the insurance for their communities. Not one. No, I had one city, I think East Point, to do business with her, and uh, it's and that's the challenge of
Mhm.
getting these and let's understand something clearly, that uh, by you all understanding how voting plays a part in what we do, but you need to be aware of when you elect these officials to these positions, they need to understand that it's okay to do business with you guys. And that means establishing relationship with them from the beginning. And see that then the other thing too is that when you elected, it's not it's short lived. He said, "What you mean by that, Mayor Burns?" A mayor is in nowadays it's unusual for a mayor to do 3 terms. He's lucky if he can do 2 terms. Uh, so you have to establish yourself in these communities as a small business owner. That that it takes time, and once you build that relationship, uh, you can have a continuing process of of, uh, of doing business in these rural areas, especially with affordable housing. They call it workforce housing now, but there's there's a lot of opportunity there. There's a lot of money available for that, but you got to have people that from the mayor's office to your city administrator that are willing to work with you guys when it comes to that. And it's and it's a and my hat's off to you because it's a because what you all do makes that. What's real discouraging is, I know Marquis was saying that a gentleman said that the, in rural Georgia or in these cities where African American business owners are only doing 1%, and I told Marquis, I believe it's less than that.
Wow.
You know,
Mhm.
so my point to that is, if it's less than 1%, there's an opportunity for you all to do business in these areas because of the percentage. And then you're saying, well, Mayor Burns, how do I do this? Well, we have to start somewhere and make the relationship. It's going to take time, but once you 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 put the time in, and I firmly believe it will pay off. You just got
Right.
to have people in these positions that understand that 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 know it's okay to do business. And I know y'all saying okay to do business. We look like that. People, y'all know people are funny. It's it's we still, and don't take this the wrong way. We still have people that don't believe that the other man's ice is colder than yours.
Wow.
That mentality still exists, and that has to change. And you change that by uh, being transparent, with what you do and how you do, and most of all, being honest. That's it. And then once you do that, you'll start seeing some difference. Because that's my thing is it's less than 1%, and that's the opportunity right there.
Yeah.
Y'all, I always told Markee, y'all are smart people. Y'all can figure it out. How do we get that less than 1% where there's plenty of opportunities out there? How do we tackle that? And I'm
Yeah.
willing to listen and help you get there.
Yes, and that's
Hey,
what this is
Markee.
all. Yeah, thank you, Mayor Burns. I really appreciate how you came today, and you're not trying to sugarcoat what's going on out there. You're definitely faithful to Black business owners, and we've talked. We met. I want to say, Mayor Burns, we met about 14 years ago. Met by
It
way
might
of our
it
president
might be
emeritus.
longer than that.
It may be longer than that. Maybe
Yeah.
longer than that. But I was introduced to you by Michael Hill, President
Right.
Emeritus, founder of the Atlanta Black Chambers,
Right.
and we've talked on a frequent basis ever since then. I've attended, I want to say, 3 or 4 annual conferences that
Right.
Mayor Burns mentioned. And I really appreciate you stressing building the relationship with those mayors. You said about just over 80 Black mayors in the state, right?
Yeah. Just about 80. And then there's my assistant Dory Henry. We were
Mhm.
counting the other day. It's right around 20 in the metro area.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're sprouting up everywhere, and in the numbers, and then that number is going to increase because of uh, uh, the like here in Washington. That I'm so disappointed here. We're
Mhm.
63%. We got a white guy. We got a white mayor.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a
And I
lot
was
to
and
unpack.
I was the first black mayor of Washington, and we hadn't been able to elect another one since I left office.
Okay. Wow.
See,
That
that's
is,
what you and see. That's an example of, as a black business owner, the mentality out there. You have to,
mhm,
we got to figure out how we get past that. So
right.
it's everybody uses Maynard Jackson as an example. You know how he did things, but you go back and check. Andy Young and Kasim Reed did a great job of making sure that African Americans got their fair share of funding. But the
Okay.
crux of it, if you were to check, just right now, if you used to check, see the biggest problem is that the governor control a lot of money, and you
Mhm.
know that, Marquis,
Yeah. That's right.
is in these rural areas where they were doing these construction projects. What y'all need to do is pull up uh, the site that does all the water and sewage plants. I can't
Mhm.
my mind. I can't think right now.
Okay.
They got
I'll take note of that and we'll figure that out. Okay.
Yeah, they got a bunch of money, and see you not and see like most of these rural areas. Guess what? They're they get that money. You use a check and see who is getting that money. Like all these major projects that came to, like they building a plant in Pooler, Georgia right now, a
Mhm.
car plant.
Yep.
Where you check is were any of your people that's on this call aware of that?
Got it. Yeah, that big,
And,
a major plant there in the pool
right,
area.
it's huge. Guess what? The former mayor here,
Hmm.
just y'all Google Barnett Sullivan, Barnett Sullivan, Barnett
Okay.
Sullivan. His name's Ames Barnett. He's got a contract down there,
Okay. Mm.
small business owner. When I was ran for, that's who beat me for mayor. And he's not mayor no more, but he he's in construction work.
Hmm.
You got me?
Yeah.
That was a relationship thing,
Right.
you know. But uh, and, and he's making I don't know how much he did pretty good on that contract because he did the clearing of it and everything.
Okay. Well, y'all heard it from Mayor Burns. He said it about 7, 8 times. Relationships. It's about building relationships, and that's what we're looking to start that process by way of the Georgia Conference of Black Mayors. I know Mayor Burns, you're working on a annual conference coming up in the near future, whether that's later this year or next year. So we definitely want, as Black business owners, as Atlanta Black Chambers and Black Chambers around the state, we definitely want to support you as you organize that conference. We definitely want to start the process of building relationships with you, with those mayors around the state, because we have to. It's imperative that we increase that spend. The spend is at 1% across the board, from the federal government to the state to the mayors that we found out today, less than 1%. We want to really
Right.
get the percentage up based on that population of that city. Just like you said, it's 63% population in Washington, Georgia, where you are right now. That's the baseline. 63% of contracting, but it's going to take a lot getting there. It's going to take building relationships with those mayors, with the city council, with the county commissions. So there are counties. We haven't talked about those counties. There are county
Oh yeah,
commissions
that's
that are
right. That's
majority.
the other one too. Yeah, that's the other piece. The counties.
Mhm.
That's important.
All right. I know we got just one question I see in the chat with some other comments, but Montina Young Frazier. So what do you suggest, Mayor Burns, that we do to foster and build relationships with mayors? Also, are the mayors making decisions on, or is everything going through the procurement office?
Generally, the mayor. It depends on how the council is set up. Generally, on the procurement process, uh, the, the mayor plays a role in, and trust me, in that process. Uh, he he can introduce you to the process and get you in the door. And it
Okay.
depends on how it's set up. You 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 know, if you see something out there you want, I think it would be a good idea to know who the players are and do some networking.
Okay.
Even introduce yourself to some city council members to introduce yourself to the mayor and understand what that process is.
All
Because
right.
uh, it's not. Trust me, the procurement process is not separate from that part of the process. Because that way you find out uh, what person ideas are, what they're supporting, and that's how you get yourself in the door and find out what's available. And the mayor can introduce you to that procurement person and tell you how that process works from that standpoint. The first thing is that they're gonna be very transparent with you, you know. So
Mhm.
that's the key. You'll know when somebody's not transparent.
All right, great. All right, well, Mayor Burns, really appreciate you coming on. I've been talking to you up for
Thank
the
you.
last several weeks, and glad to
Mhm.
have you on. We definitely look to support you as you lead as executive director of the Georgia Conference of Black Mayors. We'll definitely keep in contact. I know that.
And I want to tell. Let me tell them this too, Markee.
Okay.
I know you're, y'all smart people, but during COVID, we were the conference shut down because uh, we don't have funding like the the municipal association does. We don't have funding like it was challenging to get some of my mayors to pay their dues. I used to lobby mine. I spent a lot of my funding paying the mayor's way to a conference. And you say, why would you do that? And I told Markee, well, Markee, it's an opportunity for you all to meet the mayors and the mayors to meet you all because they live in a silo. They getting it from the municipal association. And the municipal association don't do anything for them. They take their money. My thing was I wanted to bring them to a conference where they could meet guys like yourselves who are in business that want to help and that understand. And it was challenging. Like I had one sponsor, the one I was talking about. I tell you how much she would she spent $25K with us.
Okay.
And she got she did get the East Point deal, but in my opinion, she should have got all them little small cities to contract. If you follow my drift,
I definitely follow you.
And that's a bid, even given the opportunity. My thing was giving you an opportunity to bid on it. You follow me?
Yeah.
In some situations, she wouldn't even give an opportunity to bid.
Wow.
But East Point, she bid it and she won.
Okay. Well, we definitely
she like yourself. I don't know. She believe in Mayor Burns because she continues to stay in touch, and she wants to continue to help us do what needs to be done. Because she believes, she understands that just think though, if you got to even just 5%.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, you're below 1%. But what if you got to 5 or 10? And that money is just sitting on the table for you if you just put the time in and build that relationship to get to that threshold.
Right. All right. That is what we want to do. We want to get to that threshold. I like you throwing out that 5%, but we're going to be working closely with you. Mayor Burns, we're looking forward to the announcement of the conference in the near future, and we will be represented there. I will be there. So looking forward to it. We're going to start this process and I'll keep in contact with you.
All right.
Good to see you, Mayor Burns.
Thank you.
It is. Thank you. Thank you. Got a lot of excitement in the chat. I'm making a lot of comments out there. So y'all look over that chat. It is 8:58. We have just a moment for anyone who want to make a comment or have a question / comment. Please raise your hand. We have the Mayor Burns on Montana Young Frazier. Definitely want to hear from you. What's going on?
Hey, I'll make it quick. Thanks, Mayor Burns. Glad that you shared the information. If you all are in Henry County, we have a community development department. Oh, y'all can't see this. So a lot of times these things are posted at your city hall, or you go to the city council meetings, and we actually have $1.5 million in funding. And I went to hear about it and found out they partner with nonprofits. And I told her I'm not a nonprofit. I was going as a citizen of the community. And she said, but do you do anything with economic development? And so I'm like, yeah. So that's how you foster the relationships. It's been my experience. I meet with my mayor, but you really want to know the person in your procurement office. And if you're in a smaller city, it's pretty much 1 or 2 people. So I do have a contract with the state, with the Henry County, teaching small businesses how to do business with us. So if you're interested, I put my information in. But again, get out in your community, have the conversations, because they have ARPA funds, CBDG funds. I put information in the chat. But again, Mayor Burns, thank you so much for joining us today.
All right. Thank you, Montana, for coming on. All right. It is 9 o'clock, y'all. Any other comments? Because we're about to get out of here. We are right on time. All right. Don't see any other hands raised. Thank y'all for joining us on Thursday's Public Policy Talks, where you're going to have a guest speaker from time to time. We had the great Mayor Willie Burns, the Georgia Council of Black Mayors. We're looking forward to the upcoming weeks. I know Paula Watts is on. Paula Watts, again, I said last week, we're working on data, working on numbers from the federal contracting level. Those numbers are much easier to pull from the databases that we have available. But just think about this: in the local nationwide, from the cities, the counties, and the state, the budget is a little south of $3 trillion. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot of opportunity to work closely with the Georgia Conference of Black Mayors to raise that less than 1% that's being spent with Black businesses in our Black controlled cities. We have to start that relationship process to increase that spend, along with increasing it at the state level and definitely the federal level. So thank you for joining Thursday's Public Policy Talks, where you're going to get the data. You're going to talk to the people that are out there that are in power. You want to start building those relationships to increase the money going into your businesses for you to hire and empower your Black community. Thanks a lot for joining us. See y'all again next week. Y'all have a great one. All right, it is 9:01. We are right on time. All right, y'all have a good rest of the week, y'all. And Raquel, I see you still out there. All right, great. All right, y'all be careful out there. It's a storm coming through the Atlanta metro area. Please be careful out there today. All right. See y'all. We're out.